First, I would like to present somebody's Jill Thorne's question. Jill, she wants to know whether the elect will be judging the world during the Judgment Day, and she would like you to speak from Jude 14 and 15. The question is, are the elect judging with Christ?
I'm sorry, what was that last thing?
Or elect judging with Christ.
Are the elect judging with Christ?
With Christ, Jude 14 and 15.
Okay, it says in Jude 14, and Enoch also the seventh from Adam. And by the way, why does God tell us that? That Enoch the seventh from Adam, and Enoch was the man who was translated or raptured, the seventh from Adam. Adam was Adam. Jesus was the second Adam. Who else would qualify as Adam? Noah. Noah, because after the flood, when they got off the ark, they started all over. And we know 7,000 years from Noah to Judgment Day. And so here it seems to be a reference. The seventh from Adam would point, would identify with what comes next. Prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds. And it continues. And so yes, Christ is judging the world with his saints, with the whole company of the elect. And we know from 1 Corinthians chapter 6, where it says in 1 Corinthians 6, verses 1 and 2, Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints? Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? All the saints will judge the world, and that's why Christ comes with 10,000s, because 10,000s is a number pointing to completeness. And so it's the complete number of all that God has saved. Let's say it's 200 million. That's the biggest number the Bible gives. And let's say that is everyone predestinated to salvation. And God saved the 200 millionth right before May 21, Judgment Day. Then at that point, all the saints are in his kingdom. Many have lived and died, and their souls have been with the Lord in heaven for a long time. If you go back to Abel, he's been in heaven for thousands, unless he was one of those who arose early that day and went into Jerusalem at Christ's resurrection. But let's say an individual who has died a long time ago, his spirit has entered into heaven. How is he judging the world? Or how is she judging the world at this time? It's not just the living saints, it's all the saints, because through the salvation of all of them, God then completed his salvation program, allowing him to shut the door, allowing him to then pour out his wrath upon the unsaved of the world. And so at least through the contribution of being counted amongst that number, of being one of those saints, all have contributed a part to God shutting the door of heaven, or finally him being able to shut the door. And so in that sense, and of course they're also fully unified with him in heaven and his purpose and his will, even though they have not literally come to the earth to do any judging. Maybe they also will fit in on the very last day when Christ comes to finalize everything and the world's destroyed. Perhaps I believe it does say the saints will come with him, or there's biblical language to indicate that. But otherwise, the living, physically living elect children of God that are left alive and remaining on the earth We're judging along with Christ through the sharing of the information, through just letting people know. When you have a personal conversation with someone, and they say, "Oh, I think I'll start going to church." And you say, "Oh no, sorry, the church age is over. Your sharing Judgment Day began at the house of God." Or if they might say, I think I'm going to get serious about salvation. No, we don't point any fingers. We just can share. Well, what God did on this date. Did you hear about that date? May 21, 2011. It was spread all over the world. He ended his salvation program, and the only way that someone could be saved is if God saved them prior to that time period. You've just poured out the cup of wrath, like in Revelation 16, with the angels, the messengers. They're pouring out wrath upon the earth. Well, I'm sorry, but we're running late, so we're not going to get to your second question, or to your